Just like that. We will start, in fact, while you people are sitting here, we will start serving these. Shaking, doesn't burn. And the work atmosphere, I realized, is controlled mayhem. It is completely different what school. We thought school was bad. Work in a kitchen is a battlefield. When I put out my knives, I'm putting out my guns and ammunitions. Today, bring it on. Today can bring on it. Yesterday I was great. Doesn't matter. Yesterday is over. And a kitchen means the orders are coming in, you can't make a mistake. Because this is no more school. The food is going out for someone to eat. I realized that a lot of us, we started with potato peeling and spinach washing like every young commie chef does. But you watch the line and you realize, oh my God, this is my next step, this is my next step. And the potato peeling or the spinach washing is important. It's holding up a whole cycle. It is not a myth that a kitchen atmosphere is highly pressurized. It is. If you are in charge of creating a masterpiece every day, and it has to be a masterpiece, there is nothing worse than that, or more euphoric than that. It's like in some cultures you pierce yourself because that pain gives you pleasure. This is pain giving you pleasure, and you keep wanting to go back to it. The turning point came in my life. But clean it up. When I was working in a very well-known restaurant in Piccadilly, and I was in the fish section. I was in the pastry section, which I love. The dessert always comes in the end, so you have time to prepare. The chef is not throwing the plate at you, but also you're the last to leave. But that's okay, and it's a cool kitchen. Things are not boiling away. You're baking pastry and doing stuff. And the sous chef who was in charge of the fish section fell ill. And Chef Julian came and said, "Sunshine, fish." Should I be happy? Of course I should be happy. I've been promoted. I was absolutely devastated. Fish cooking is one of the most difficult cooking in any form of cooking. This can be overcooked very fast. And I was making sauces which were splitting. My fish was overcooked. The worst part is you can watch the kitchen. You can watch the diners. In Coglino, the fish section is like this. You have the ice at the back with all the shellfishes on it. The fresh fish is down there. There's a glass here, and you can see the chefs cooking your fish. Also, if you're standing there and cooking your fish, you can see the diner sending your dish back. It can kill you. It's like any artist saying, "Please be frank about my work. I really need good criticism. Please do not criticize me, it will kill me." We're doing it all the time. Every artist. I really need to know. I really need to know. Do I really need to know? Please don't say it was bad. I'll be so hurt. That is what we do. The dishes started coming back. The first week I was there. The chef, in front of all the diners, took the dish, whacked me on the head with a towel, opened the dustbin and threw it. Then he said, "Disappear from my eyesight. I don't want to see you." I was a master's in international relations. I'd given up my fellowship at the university and my research fellowship to go and be a cook. I wondered if I had any other option in life, or should I just be here being screamed at by somebody and really insulted. Of course, racist insults we have all faced. The kitchen is the best place for racist insult. For example, I'll give you some ideas. Everybody who is south of Tibet till Australia is a Paki. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you come from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Philippines, wherever, Singapore, you're a Paki. Everybody who is not got a Muslim name in the Middle East is a bloody Jew. Please remember, all Israelis are not Jews. Anybody who's got a Muslim name is a terrorist. You face this and you learn to realize this is to the person that person is seeing. This is not personal. Because after kitchen, the person who's called me a Paki goes to the pub, sits with me and has a beer and said, "I had a shit day." I have seen that happen. The wrong thing is to take it personally and say, this person is against me. I'm not saying it doesn't happen personally, but that stops your journey, not somebody else's. So one shouldn't take these personally. It happens in the kitchen, it happens everywhere where you have to work hard under pressure, but it is not personal. I want to choose to think so. So this kind of disagreement used to happen. I faced a lot of it. And I sat down and I looked back at the kitchen. I was sitting on the fire escape because I had been banished from the kitchen. And that's the worst thing. On duty, you're not on work. And I looked back and I said, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. I got my master's in international relations. I can go back, finish my research. I can write my thesis. And I saw the room with the wine glasses, the last evening sunlight coming in, the candles coming on, the maitre d' putting out the ashtrays, because then smoking was allowed. And I knew this is exactly what I wanted to do. Nobody was asking me to. This was my passion. I wanted to go back, even if I'm thrown out. It's like being crazily in love. Whether you're rejected or not, it doesn't matter. What the other person feels for you is not the yardstick. It is what you feel. And it's your passion to say. Nobody, not even that person can take it away from you. And that is what my love for food was. Let's get, are we getting the tastings ready? Guys, taste this. And honestly, if it's bad, tell me. I'll poison you with the next one. So, I walked back into the kitchen and I said, okay, I'm going to start now listening to what is happening here. It was the worst time. I realized that when you are successful is not when the crunch time is. The crunch time is the day you are in the pits. And that day I was in the pits. I got a torrent of abuse. I sifted through it to hear what the real thing. I listened to chef carefully. Slowly I got my rhythm back. I realized what I'm doing wrong, not what I'm doing right, which is the key. So what I started to do, on my way back from work, I used to buy kilos of fish. And I used to come back home, I used to cook fish. And all my neighbors at Marble Arch apartment, I used to go and knock on the door and say, would you like some fish? Very polite people. They were Filipinos, they were Japanese, they were nice people. And they were very, very polite. Till one day, after the third fish dish, a Filipino couple told me, thank you very much. We eat fish, but we're not crazy about it. I'm sorry, I had to feed people fish because I needed to know what wrong I was doing. I used to hang out at Borough Market, the oyster stalls, you know, and I used to learn shucking oysters. Because at this restaurant, you have your customer watching you shucking your oyster. And you know the oyster knives are this small. I have actually gashed my hand up to down, bandaged it, and chef said, go on. Because whom do I replace at your station? It's like a battlefield. Who comes in your place? I was learning to devein shrimps with a toothpick. The Japanese, amazingly, 10 kilos at a time, just a toothpick. I was picking up stuff. I was loving it. I was totally into fish. You know, I was like thrilled. I have cracked fish. I was slowly started seeing other effects of that. I used to come back home at the dead shift. All the young chefs are put into the dead shift. That's the shift which starts after 8 o'clock and goes on till whenever they choose. And you come back next day on duty whenever they choose. So I was on the bus and all the flotsam of London who keep all the glamour and the glitz going outside, we who walk behind, who work behind, while you can drive your Cadillacs and go off and wear your evening gowns and pick at your caviar, which I worked very hard to put beautifully in front of you. And all of us used to come back at the night. Everybody was half asleep. I think it's an internal radar. We used to wake up at our bus stop and get off. I started seeing that even in that very, very deep state of exhaustion, people were getting up and moving away from me to another seat. I started realizing that I stink. No, I'm an Indian. I take a bath every day. But it was not the bath. Another little indication, there was the Victoria Casino right at the corner of my we will get started with the next bread salad from the Middle East very soon. The bouncers used to stand outside, big guys. I used to feel quite safe because they'd watch me reach my building, and I used to feel good that those guys are watching. And they had a very hoity-toity Persian cat.
Nice and spicy.
I mean, a lot of clients used to try and pet her, and she was like sniff. After a few days, I saw her crossing the street, coming and going purr. So the humans were moving away, the cats were moving in. And the final straw was when Chef Julian said, Sunshine, either you're smart enough or you don't turn up. I realized that my hair was in risk because I was smelling of fish. I was looking at fish scales on my hand until that scaled it perfectly. I realized that in hospitality, the trick is to cook the perfect fish, stand at the fish station wearing channel number 5. If I could cook fish, I could do it. I mean, your chef needs to look reliable. I mean, every time you think somebody coming out of the kitchen saying, what did I do wrong? And that person's got stuff all over him. No, this is a very reliable industry. You have to be reliable. You've got people's taste in. How do you like what you're eating? Do you like that? Isn't that an interesting mix of tastes? Everything. Huh? It's very interesting because this is what the Middle Eastern people have always taught me.
Chef, it's very erotic.
Thank you. I was looking for that. I was looking for that. And again, it's fast. Wouldn't you want some more? I understand. This lady, you know, Isabel Allende, you have heard of her. She has written some of the best literature on food and erotica. No one here is below 18, I think. No, even that, I'm not scaring you. What food? As he said, it was lovely, but you can't hold on to it. You can't box it. You can't say, I never want this again because I'm going to hold it in my mouth. This is exactly what passion is. And this is exactly what food is. Look at handling ingredients. You handle textures with your hand. You hear your oil getting hot. You hear it frying. You know when it's over frying. You put in the sauce, the bubbles happen. The quiet of the cheese melting. This, you feel it inside you. And what better way to love someone by saying, I put that out for you. All over the world, whoever has loved anyone, especially women, the men didn't like the kitchen, they have tried to get to their man through food. I'm sorry, I'm not being sexist here. It's not that. It's one of the best ways to say, I can touch you. You see, without anything else. I cared. While I was making it, I was thinking of you. And that is what attracts me to this line. Of course, and all because you see my size. I love food. We are going to start on the next one. And after I smartened up, I realized that I moved on to other work in the kitchen, which was not so fishy. Which was, the meat and the sauce, which is more. There are certain, again, I'm going to talk you through the story of this salad. It's very interesting. You will see how the tastes are layered when you eat it, but I'm going to explain each layer to you. Here we have some radish, white radish, and some cucumber cut into strips. What we're going to do, imagine in your heads the taste of radish and the taste of cucumber. We're going to put in a little lemon juice. Okay? And we're going to put in a touch of salt. When I say salt, keep thinking salt. And then pepper. You see how it's building up. And we're going to give this a big mix. That's all I do. I like freshly ground pepper. I always grind my own pepper before I'm going to use it in a mortar and pestle because I otherwise think it becomes pepper paste instead of pepper powder. We're going to keep this aside for the minute. Then what we're going to do, where are all the other things? We are going to take the cold ingredients that we are going to mix. We have got here some pomegranate, very Mediterranean, very potent. There were people who were banned from eating pomegranate because it would make them have pleasure. Also, pomegranate is a big, big symbol of fertility. We have some capers. Imagine the taste. Capers, little olive family things. We have some black olives, which have a very deep, handsome taste to them. These are the cold ingredients. We're going to have some hot ingredients. These are baby onions, which have been marinated in balsamic vinegar, a little demerara sugar, and white wine vinegar overnight. A bit of halloumi cheese. Now let me tell you about cheese. Halloumi cheese is very Middle Eastern cheese, is very spongy. But the great thing about this is I never cook with things which I have to tell you to go to the supermarket to get. I'm sorry, I make my own halloumi cheese. I went through a cheese learning course. I've got my own vegetarian Rene. It may not be perfect because cheese is very, very responsive to temperature change, even a little bit. If it's a cold kitchen, if it's a hot kitchen, if it's not splitting, stuff like that. Amount of splitting agent which goes in. So this is in fact homemade halloumi cheese. which we have grilled a little. We are going to rewarm this. And there is one more thing that I'm missing. I have got here some Arabian bread, which is simple yeast bread with mint in it, which we also make fresh. In the Middle East, there's one thing they never waste, and that is bread. We are simply going to cut off strips for it. You see, strips like this. They never waste bread. They turn it into a bowl, they put it in salads, they put it in soups, soak it in deep soups, and they eat it. They never waste bread. And into any Middle Eastern house that you walk into, the first thing that is offered to you is bread, salt, and zatar, which you know is a very famous spice in their country. So what we are going to do, we are going to mix these ingredients, and we have got some, I had some parsley somewhere. This is the parsley, thank you. Please replace the parsley, the coriander with parsley, because the other one had coriander. So we are going to heat up our oil a bit. We have already got our radish and our this marinating. What we are going to do, we are going to toss up a little bit of stuff here. First, I'm going to heat a little olive oil. You see, I've already explained to you the characters in this play. Now we see how the scene emerges, all the emotions. Salt, sweet, sour, hot. We're going to first put in our marinated onions. And we're going to just caramelize them off a little. While that's happening, I wanted to read you something. Sorry, I'm doing this all the time. I'm reading you guys stuff. I was talking about journey. And this is by Paulo Coelho, if you have read his Alchemist. This is one of his books, which I love the idea of the book, the Zahir. You know what the Zahir is? We Indians know the word Zahir. It's a Middle Eastern word which literally means the obvious. Ye Zahir hai. This is there. It is obvious. It's proven. It's also obsession. Because what is obvious can't be changed. Can it? Big question. Can be, maybe. Can't be. So in this, here is the first part. Can you smell the balsamic and the red wine? I hope you guys can. I would love to take the pot around, but I think people will kill me. So I'm getting this. Now what I'm going to put into it is a bit of my halloumi cheese. It's been grilled in the oven. I'm just rewarming it. So this is a lovely, in the Middle East I see a lot of things which we Indians used to have before. It's called a meat shed. Indian houses used to have it when we didn't have refrigerators. It was wire cupboards in which food was kept so that any kind of bugs or rats can't get to it. So a lot of food in the Middle East is eaten at room temperature because cooking is done in the cooler part of the day, which is the morning, and then the food is kept. And whenever anybody wants to eat, like tapas. One friend here was talking about tapas, he's just been in Barcelona. Yes. You see, it's always served at room temperature, so you can have it at any time of the day, except if you want a hot tapas. Absolutely. So, food is a kind of thing you eat through the day in the Middle East. It's, of course, the Italians sit down to a big lunch and a big dinner and a small antipasti and stuff. We keep eating through the day. So, this is what I love about this. You can have all the ingredients ready and you have a friend over and you just put this multifaceted salad together. Okay, now that my halloumi is done a bit, I'm going to put in something which everybody who knows about Middle East knows, the sumac. The famous spice, which is made by grinding berries, which almost look like kebab chini, if you know what kebab chini is, the little pepper-like things. And I'm going to put in a little cumin powder, which is also again a very Middle Eastern. This is something I noticed. When I used to go, I stayed in the Middle East for some time and worked there. When I used to go shopping, my shopping basket used to look almost more or less the same as it would look in India. I had garlic, I had onion, I had coriander or parsley depending, I had chickpeas, I had cheese. I just want this board. And then I want the pan back. And I used to go back home and say, there was chilies, there were lemon, and I used to go back home and say, my shopping basket is looking the same, so what's different about this food? It's how we approach. Bengalis make khugni. We make with the chickpea. North India we make chana, they make hummus. We are putting in the same chopped parsley. Ingredients, that's why I never make fusion food. I don't like the word fusion food. What does fusion food mean? Confusion. What I make is my memory of that food. So I walk around finding things which remind me of it. And I at least get approximation. Why should I give you a food where you're having a beef Wellington tasting of Thai soup? I mean, I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. Maybe some people do. And there are great chefs who are doing great jobs with that. You can make signature dishes. That's different. That's your. What I'm doing is frying off the bread. In the little bit of sumac and cumin that's left, I'm frying off the bread. So if this is stale bread, it works better.
Is it all in olive oil?
Yes, I usually work only in olive oil. Please do not use extra virgin olive oil. It's a waste of time and money because it's got a strong peppery taste and it's good for dressings and stuff. Use the normal light olive oil, white olive oil. I really don't get it. I mean, don't be unhealthy, but so I remember, I'm going to wind up here after some time, after we serve the salad. I remember one last little thing which I wanted to tell you. This story goes on, it changes. A lot of you have been to the story before, and you realize that it changes every time it happens because my memories of different food things come back. I was in Israel. I had just gone from London where I was working in Michelin star places where you put on leaves onto a plate with tweezers, micro leaves, one shrimp, and a coriander just hanging out. And that's a dish, it's so artistic. And I went to Israel where I was with my friends, and in Israel, you know that military conscription is compulsory. And I hung out with my friends, went to some of their old army places. I was in fact not allowed into Lebanon because although I had Indian passport, I had Israeli visa on it, so life. So I actually saw a complete different type of cooking. There were vats this big and this deep. And in it went vegetables, spices, meats. I always used to think after being a French chef, how can you taste what you're cooking? How can you fine tune it? I realized years of practice, eyes, that's it. They don't even taste the cooks who are cooking. They're not even tasting. They know their food like they know somebody they love. He looks at the bubbles and says the gravy's getting thicker. Okay, the hock's not done. Do it again. From micro eating to huge vats. And it's a very simple life. It's a hard life in the army. But it's also a great life because you make some very lifelong friendships.